Very well. Farewell.
Why does this Blast One exist? To make us forget about the broken messes that are Afterimage and Afterimage Strike? Or perhaps to make us feel better about using instant transmission instead? I get that it can be interrupted before the teleport actually happens, but it doesn't leave you as vulnerable as Wild Sense normally would. Both Blast Ones have their weak points, but for instant transmission, its weak point is what every other Blast One already has: simply being interrupted. Wild Sense's only advantage is the distraction that comes with it, nothing more to it than that. And no, using it to finish your opponent off is not that cool, okay? A more rewarding finish is one that's harder to pull off, like Psychokinesis for example, not because of its effect's range, but because of the timing required to prevent any interruptions. Wild Sense on the other hand has no timing. It doesn't trigger an animation, and it cannot be used while being hit like Afterimage. The only setup you can do with it is praying to RNGesus that the opponent hasn't been staring at your Blastox all match. Otherwise, how's Wild Sense any good when your opponent is always going to expect it? What about those Blastox you let go to waste? Last time I checked, they don't grow on trees. 31.84 seconds is the least time it will take to get 2 Blastox for 1 Wild Sense. As Super Saiyan Goku mid, that is. Worst case scenario, you'll have to wait 38.16 seconds, but that is if you actually give a crap about the game's roster outside of the same handful of characters you pick. Obviously, you can also gain chunks of a Blastox by reflecting Ki Blasts or blocking fully charged smash attacks, but that's 5% and 50% for each. And since online matches aren't as forgiving, Ki Blasts and smash attacks are more likely to land than miss. Even if you repurpose Wild Sense to make it another Afterimage, you're still gonna have to play the same old waiting game. And what good will come out of that if you're trying to teleport a Blastoise like Sumasen or Scatter Finger Beam? Only guarding will save you from those moves, and that's that. At least with Afterimage, it could be stacked up to 3 times. Quite the expensive route, I know, but it'll come in handy far more than Wild Sense ever will, especially since you can only have 1 Wild Sense active at a time. I guess it's to discourage spam, but Afterimage doesn't have this restriction, so how come? As mentioned before, Blastox management is limited to 3 things, and only those determine how much a Blast One can be spammed, given that Blast Ones don't have a cooldown of their own. And as if that weren't bad enough, Wild Sense doesn't suffer from the timing issues that Z Counter has. And since it will always trigger a down smash, aside from a few outliers, you could teleport Wild Sense with your eyes closed if you really wanted to. The sound cues are a dead giveaway. That is, if you're not stuck in some melee animation, but even then, rapid movement is your friend, so use it wisely. The only time Wild Sense will trigger an up smash, however, is in the World Tournament stage. Just when you thought the Blast One would have another advantage. Nah, forget about it, son. Not that you ever play on that map anyway. That map is its own lot of nonsense. And now, a quick montage of the many ways to counter Wild Sense. Another Wild Sense. An explosive wave or barrier. A Z counter. Simply blocking it. Afterimage or Afterimage Strike. False courage, I guess. I mean, you take the damage, but the stun doesn't count, so... Rapid movement. Z items like Repetars and shit. You see how much nonsense there is in just this Blast One? There's no point in having it. Simple. Afterimage exceeds it, and it's used by better characters across many tier lists. Nothing will ever make Wild Sense on par with Afterimage, besides enabling its ability to be used while being hit. But that's what makes Afterimage broken in the first place. If you were to take it out of Afterimage, Afterimage would still come out on top, simply because it doesn't put the player in a situation in which their hit can still be vanished, blocked, or countered. Wild Sense is nonsense on a conceptual level. Bad on paper, bad in practice. Lowering its cost, giving it an attack buff, enabling the broken Afterimage property. Such changes only encourage the player to use it over and over rather than properly. Sure, you could make it unblockable and unvanishable, like a semi-charged ki cannon, but at that point, you've turned it to a nearly guaranteed hit. Might as well make it automatically win the match for you. Like, seriously? Stop using it! Cause Wild Sense is nonsense!